I lost 40 pounds in just over 2 months. And today I'm going to tell you how I did that. Let's go check it out. Thanks for joining me today on my channel, and this is Discovering My Fitness, and I'm on a weight loss challenge. So my weight loss challenge is to lose 160 pounds. And so far, I've had a lot of ups and downs, but overall, there's success. Now, if you're extremely overweight and sedentary like I was, there's actually a bit of a pre-story to all this. So I'm going to let you in on what that was and how I kind of changed that so that I was able to kind of get started on my weight loss challenge. So what I struggled with was the amount of energy, right? So I'd be going to work or I'd be doing other things and I'm like, I just don't have energy to work out. And then if I did work out, I didn't have energy to do the stuff I was supposed to do, like work. And then my performance at work would go down. So I was struggling, how to find that happy medium, and it was really holding me back from actually exercising and working on my weight loss. Now, the longer this went on, of course, the worse it got, the more inactive I became, and of course, the more out of shape I became. And then finally, I got to the point where I just felt like I had nothing for strength and energy, and my capabilities to even just go for a walk were diminished. So about a year before I started my weight loss challenge, I decided I need to get moving. So I just started going for 5-minute walks. And this wasn't about losing weight, this is just getting mobile. And I stopped caring about whether or not I had energy for other stuff, because my health was getting so poor that I just needed to make that change, because if I didn't, there was going to be something drastic happen. I just felt it inside. So these things were just really simple, like going for 5-minute walks. I started going for 5-minute walks, and I started doing some core exercises that were really simple, and that was it. I was doing a little bit of Tai Chi online and just kind of get my body moving, real simple calisthenics. So I did that for about 3 months or so, and then my walking started improving. Then what I did is I went from 5-minute walks to 10-minute walks, 20-minute walks, 30-minute walks, 1,000 steps, 2,000 steps, and you know how it goes. Eventually I was up to, almost 20,000 steps, and then I was starting to have some issues, but that's another story. And now I'm going to be able to tell you how I got into my weight loss challenge. Once I was able to get walking and feel like I had the capabilities to exercise on a regular basis, I kind of got to that point, after about a 30-minute walk, and I could do that 3 times a week. The energy still wasn't quite there, but I thought, well, I need to make some other changes, and I need to have weight loss so that, the challenges I was having with walking from my knees, hips, and ankles, I could lose the weight and actually be more capable of doing things. And I did have a goal, and that long-term goal is kind of what's driving me. Now, as I said, the goal is what's driving me, but it's really just kind of a different lifestyle that I want to get to. But that long-term goal is that I want to travel more, and I want to go to places and explore. So I want to go to see the ancient ruins in Rome and Greece, in Egypt, and I check out medieval castles and do a lot of touring, see some natural wonders, and there's a plethora of things I want to go see, but most of them require me to be able to be physically fit enough to actually walk around and do something. So life's been a little bit of an up and down in other areas, so I actually had decided to move from where I live to a different city out on the coast, and I was going to get a job there, and this was going to be a turnaround for me, and things didn't work out. And I still was walking and I still was staying active, but something didn't go right there, and they decided they didn't need me, and I actually moved out and then decided to move back home. And that kind of changed everything. I decided, it's not just going to be to get more active. I'm going to lose weight, and I'm going to be more healthy, and I'm going to make that change now. And so this is where it got started. So I came back, and roughly end of February, and I started my walking regimen, and I started doing X number of steps. And so I still hadn't gotten to a significant amount of steps, but I was over 5,000, so I wanted to keep that going. And then I just started adding steps on a regular basis. So I added 1,000 steps um, as soon as I felt like I could go to the next step, and it actually started happening very rapidly because I'd already been walking, and I just increased on that. And then to top it off, I went, okay, I snack quite a bit on stuff that I shouldn't snack on, and I need to make those changes. So things like chips, chocolate bars, um, sugar, sodas. I was a big Coke drinker, so had to get rid of those on a major part. But I know I'm a snacker, so I didn't get rid of them completely. I kind of toned them down and gave myself portions and limited my times when I was able to eat them. So here's the thing, it started working. I started losing weight just on a regular basis. It'd go down a pound or two, and then you could go up a pound, and then it'd go down in 2 or 3, and then it'd go up a pound. And I noticed over several days I was kind of fluctuating, but I was going down. And at the end of the week, I'd lost a significant amount of weight, and it was just being consistent and going and walking every day. That's really all it was. And of course the snacking was still there, but instead of pulling out a bag of chips and eating the whole thing, I'd give myself a bowlful or a handful and then stop it at that. So I still had the treat that I wanted, but on a limited basis. So I was averaging around 5 pounds of weight loss per week, and that's a little bit higher than what they recommend, but my body wasn't really resisting that, and I wasn't really having any trouble doing it. I wasn't doing anything special, so I felt like, this was okay. What I've read is that you should lose around 2 pounds a week on average, and so 1 to 3 pounds I believe is the recommendation. But because I was so overweight, I felt like possibly this is my body just accepting this and moving forward. And for the most part, for the whole 2 months, it worked out well. And so the key ingredients were walking daily and changing my snacking routine so that I was reducing those calories. Now over the 2 months and a little bit more, I kind of started feeling that fatigue at the end of that time period, and my knees and hips were seizing up, and I found that I needed to do more to kind of maintain myself. And then figured out, well, I'm not giving myself that 1 day a week rest to let my body kind of recover. And because I was so sedentary before and so inactive, my body's not really welcoming all this like constant exercise. And so even though I should be able to walk on a daily basis, my body was telling me that I'm not able to do that physically, and I need to maintain that. So what I mean by maintain it is my body needed me to allow it to recover from the exercise, which for my current state was still pretty low energy, slow physical activity, and where I was coming from was zero. So this was like basically 1,000% increase, instead of just somebody who's already active just increasing it by 5-10% a week. I was basically going from 0 to 1,000, and my body eventually kind of said, okay, whoa, slow down a bit. And so things I needed to do included, I needed to stretch because I was getting so tight in my hamstrings, and that kind of led to tightness in my back. And of course, that just kind of makes everything more difficult. And my knees and hips were so tight and sore that walking actually became kind of laborious. So every kind of step kind of hurt a little bit, and I had to kind of figure out, I needed that rest period and I needed to stretch so that I could maintain the exercise without stopping altogether. Now in the past, some of the things that I had done were really me and my old mindset, that 18-year-old mindset saying, let's just go for it, or no pain, no gain. And I jump into it, and well, I'd injure myself. And I was worried now that I potentially was going to injure myself walking, and I wanted to rearrange that. So at the end of this time period, I had to kind of look to rearrange how I was doing things so that I could maintain exercising on a regular basis, keep progressing, and continue on with my weight loss. So I did it. I did the 40 pounds that I lost, but now I was kind of in this little bit of a crisis, like how do I continue on and how can I go forward? Even though I'd lost weight, I was still having difficulties with my joints and stiffness. So on top of now meeting these new physical issues that I was coming up with, I kind of ran into some, illness where I got the flu, wasn't exercising much, then the weather was poor, so I wanted to go outside less. And now I'd met my goal, and I was kind of running into all these roadblocks that kind of limited the amount of exercise I was doing. And I kind of fell back a little bit. I'd lost some weight, but now I've gained a little bit back. Now, because I was staying active and I had slowed down my snacking, I didn't gain it all back. I gained a little bit back, but I needed to adjust. So I looked into doing biking. I looked at building myself a schedule. I look at alternatives to being outside and walking when it's not so nice to walk. Although I do like walking in the rain if it's a light rain, but I don't usually go for a walk when it's pouring either. I've since included calisthenics. I've included more of a regimented stretching routine. And now I'm looking forward to how I'm going to lose the next 40 pounds or the next weight loss segment that I'm working on. My total goal is 160 pounds, and I'm still sitting at about minus 30 some, so 30 and a little bit more. And I'm going to make that next step. And it's going to include more changes to my diet. It's going to include a more varied workout program with different variations that are going to help me to stay more flexible, help my body recover from longer workouts and more stringent workouts. Although, to be honest, they're not overly stringent, they're not tough, they're not really beyond what I can handle. Just simply, my body got a certain limit it can go to, and I need to be aware of that. And I don't want to get injured. I want to be more active and I want to be more fit, but I know it takes time. So what I like to say to everybody is, if you are wanting to lose weight, it is not a quick fix. And if you want it to be a quick fix, then you're probably going to lose the weight and gain it back, right? And unless you can kind of put in place certain things that are going to change in your lifestyle and figure out how to do that, you're probably going to gain the weight back. Because the way it worked for me is I did start gaining some weight back, but I made some positive changes over the long term, and there were things that I wanted to change in the future, and that definitely was great. So you can lose the weight, but how do you keep it off? And then for me, how do I go forward? So if you're sedentary and you're overweight and you haven't been active in years, it's possible. Just start small. Start with those 5-minute walks. Don't worry about the weight loss to start with. Get more active, get more fit, get your body moving. And then once you get moving, you realize what you can actually do. And then you build on it, right? And it's not a race, it's not a rush. I only progressed based on what my body was capable of doing. And when my body started hurting, I pulled back and I reset what my goals were and kind of my mindset, so that I was not going to be injured and I was not going to be in a place where I wasn't going to be capable or able to move into more exercise. And yeah, so far so good. So I hope you're doing well with your weight loss, and go ahead and leave comments below. Let me know how you're doing or what you think of what I'm doing. Maybe you think it's totally wrong, but realistically, I've had the success and I feel healthier and I'm more physically capable. So there may be a better way, but this is how I'm doing it and it's working. So share what your information is, and let us know. Go ahead and click subscribe and like to follow along in the series. And yeah, check out my next video. And yeah, hopefully in a few more videos I'll be able to tell you how I've lost the next 40 pounds. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.